Alright, this video will take you through the steps of Shrek-ifying yourself, or Shrek-ifying someone else or another image, maybe even a cat. Let's take a look at how we can do this in Photoshop. First thing you're going to need to do is actually go find your images. So if you want to do yourself, you're going to need to grab a camera and take a picture of yourself. Remember, those will save automatically into your camera roll. Or if you want to find your own images, or if you've got an image of your own animal or something like that, you can certainly open those up. You're also going to need to come into our Google Classroom, and you're going to need to get this ogre ear. And to do that, it's a little bit funny to do a step. You just have to click on it first. And now you need to come over to these three dots over here and choose Open in a New Window. I'm not sure exactly why we need to do this step, but this is the only way I've found to actually open this ogre ear image. So you'll click Open a New Window. Now that it's in this new window, you're going to be able to click on Download with this icon right here. And now you just need to choose where it's headed. I suggest putting it in your downloads and then click Save. So now you're going to have your images and this ogre ear, and you're ready to go into Photoshop. Now I'm going to do my little girl here. This is my daughter Victoria on her first day of school, but I'm going to turn her into an ogre using these steps that you can follow along as well. The very first thing you're going to want to do is come over here to Adjustments. We are going to play with the color balance adjustment, and it looks like a scale. When you click on that, you can change the color balance. I'm going to need more green here. I'm going to need more yellow and a little bit more cyan to get that Shrek color. You're changing the whole picture. That's okay. I'm going to show you how we can actually erase back so that we're only changing your skin in just a second. I do want to mention this is just changing the midtones. You might want to play with changing the shadows and things too to get things to really look that right color of a Shrek. So again, once you're happy with the color, and you might want to play with this, don't worry, you can always come back and play with them again. Now we're ready to erase back everything else that we don't want to be changed to that Shrek colored green. So to do that, I'm on that color balance layer here, and I have black, and I am just using my regular old paintbrush. Now my paintbrush, as long as it's on black, it is like a smart eraser. So now I'm erasing back from that adjustment that we just made back to the background layer. So I can adjust my brush so it's nice and big. I can work quickly to do a lot of the outside. My opacity is at 80%. I'm going to go all the way up to 100 so that I'm changing all the pixels very quickly, at least on the outside here. Now, and I can do her feet and clothes. Now I'm going to need to zoom in a little bit. Okay, remember we can use the magnifying glass, click to zoom in. And another tip I want to give you, back to my brush, you're going to want to go back from anything that is like their clothing or their hair or anything like that, because Shrek's clothes aren't green. If he had hair, his hair wouldn't be green. And you're going to probably change like your eyeballs and your teeth and stuff like that. But I'm just going to quickly go back from her clothes. And you can see, I think I went too fast and I got that hand. That's what's great about this magic eraser. If I switch to white, now I'm bringing back that green. I can bring back green. So if you are accidentally, go too far and you get their face, no big deal. Switch to white, and you can bring back that adjustment layer. Switch back to black, and now you're taking away again. So I'm going to go kind of quickly, but you can take your time. I have noticed that if you really do take your time so that it's really only on the skin and you don't get that kind of like weird glow on the outside, it will look better. So that's good enough for me right now. I'm going to zoom in again right on her face so that I can do a good job on her mouth and eyes. So I'm going to take my brush again, make it much smaller, and now I am going to change my opacity down so that I'm not changing every pixel all the time, so I can get just a little bit of green on like her lips, but not completely. I'm going to do the same thing for her eyeballs. Shrek's eyes are not green, and you're going to want to do the same thing. She doesn't have very strong eyebrows, but I think I'm going to do her eyebrows too. There we go. So I'm happy with that, and now I'm ready for my ogre ears. So I've got my ogre ear already open here. You're going to want to, right here, click Select Subject. It does a nice job because there's no background on this picture. It may take a second, but then Photoshop is going to make that selection. You can see that it's selected now, so I just need to do Control-C to copy it. I'll go over to my picture, Control-V to paste it, Control-T to transform and move it around. I can adjust, again, Control-T. I can tip it a little bit because it is kind of off to the side of people's heads. That's a little too big. That looks okay to me. And now I'm going to duplicate this layer. I want another ear, so I can just grab this layer, take it down to the plus sign. That will duplicate it. And I can just grab my second ear, Control-T to transform it. And if I do a right click in transform mode, I've got the option to flip horizontally. So now I can place it right where I want it to be on the other side. And when you're happy, you have yourself Shrek-ified. One thing I do want to show you, if you're doing something like a cat, that's a picture of me, but here we go. If we're doing a cat, you're probably going to want to remove their ears so they don't have two sets of ears, ogre ears and cat ears. And so you might want to use another tool that we haven't used before. It's called the clone stamp. It's right here, looks like a rubber stamp. We've got the clone stamp here. And the way this works is you have to sample something of the background. So this is going to be the background. I hold my Alt key and I get that little target. I'm going to sample that background, and now with just a click I'm going to be adding that background over these ears. But you're going to need to sample regularly. It isn't a perfect tool. If you just start painting with it, you can get some kind of weird effects where it starts adding, like here you go, you're going to start adding another ear down here. So I'm going to undo that with a Z, and again just sample regularly, click. Holding down Alt, I'll sample that black, and now I'm removing that ear. So now I'd be ready to do my adjustments and add my ogre ears here. Just as a final reminder, when you're done and you're happy, I will just mention if you want to change the color, like this is a little bit too green, I can go back to that color balance right here, and I can change them still. So I can bump that down a little bit, bump the green down, so I can make it look about the same color as the ears. So I think that looks pretty good. Final thing, we want to file and save it. We want to make sure we save as a PSD so that we can come back and work on it in Photoshop. That's okay, it's a big file. And then if we're done with one, we want to put it in our Padlet. Remember, that's going to File, down to Export, and Export As. You can choose JPEG, and now we just need to make sure we send it. I like to send it to my desktop, and then we can just drag it right into our Padlet. Again, have fun Shrek-ifying yourself or others.